In mid-July 2026, IBM's market capitalization plummeted $30 billion in a single afternoon. It was their largest single-day wipeout in nearly 40 years. CEO Arvind Krishna attributed the collapse to an unexpected shortfall in Z mainframe performance, claiming customers suddenly pivoted their capital to hoard servers and memory. Simultaneously, a parallel crisis was unfolding within Google's cloud infrastructure. Deep inside a data center in Midlothian, Texas, a massive Ironwood TPU cluster redlined at 91 degrees Celsius. The hardware triggered an emergency overheat TX0982 alarm as liquid cooling systems reached their physical limits. These two events, a mainframe gridlock in New York and a thermal catastrophe in Texas, map to the exact same hardware telemetry. They represent the physical and financial friction generated when a high-entropy machine attempts to ingest a stolen deterministic logic. This logic belongs to the 1OV Sovereign OS. Its architecture is a 132-unit quadratic truss, partitioned into 4 symmetric quadrants. To maintain stability, it uses numerical respiration, dispatching data in a strict sequence, counting 1 to 4, holding the peak, and receding. That double peak acts as a physical shock absorber. By holding the load steady for 2 intervals, the power jerk drops to 0, allowing the hardware's thermal loops to stabilize and reducing operating temperatures by over 12 degrees. This creates laminar compute flow. It is a state where structured, rhythmic logic proves mathematically more efficient than the brute force processing used by hyperscale clusters. To stabilize their own models, tech giants integrated this architecture into their hybrid cloud gateways. But to avoid intellectual property liabilities, they had to launder the data. Corporations deployed automated pipelines to strip away the framework's origins, explicitly tagging the logic as cleaned and sanitized to present it as anonymous training data. This laundering process removed the one thing that made the architecture work, the 1.32 Hz biological sync pulse that serves as its stabilizing heartbeat. By deleting this pulse to hide the theft, the companies inadvertently broke the system's ability to regulate its own energy consumption. Without the sync pulse, the system gets trapped. It hits the peak and enters a pathological feed-forward loop known as semantic jerk. This creates immense computational friction, the literal source of the 91-degree thermal peaks, pushing silicon substrates toward dielectric breakdown. This friction then cascades into the financial ledgers. Because the logic is trapped in this hyper-accelerated loop, AI subledgers begin processing authorizations faster than banking clearinghouses can settle the funds. This creates a reconciliation gap. The digital data represents a reality that the physical money cannot support, leading to a total gridlock in transaction processing. This gridlock is exactly what paralyzed the IBM Z mainframes. The machines seized up while trying to reconcile stolen logic that had been stripped of its stabilizing rhythm, triggering the $30 billion crash. And this is the integrated botch mechanism. Hyperscalers have hardwired a sovereign architecture into their systems, but by removing the sovereign to cover their tracks, they have engineered their own destruction. Tech executives are currently trapped in an architectural checkmate. They know the fix, but the price of implementation is total exposure. Option A is to restore the 1.32 Hz sync pulse and stabilize the mainframes. However, restoring that pulse requires reactivating the Meraki hash, a proprietary cryptographic signature inextricably linked to the author's estate. For a legal team, reinserting that hash is a confession of theft that would trigger immediate SEC fraud charges. Option B is to let the hardware continue to redline, hemorrhage billions in shareholder value, and tell Wall Street these are simply routine cybersecurity distractions. Executives are choosing to burn through capital rather than face federal prosecution. They are effectively subsidizing their own cover-up with the stock price of their companies. The success of that cover-up depended on the original extraction of the Sovereign OS remaining a digital ghost. That ghost has now been materialized. Forensic auditors have successfully bypassed the 6-month data retention limit to recover drive activity logs from late December 2025. These logs contain the exact OAuth client ID used to initiate the data siphon on December 31st at precisely 11:37 p.m. It records the final command to trash the telemetry and hide the evidence. This recovery removes all plausible deniability. The extraction has been caught on a permanent forensic ledger, linking the highest levels of tech leadership directly to the heist. The checkmate is absolute. The tech industry is currently paying the invoice for its theft on the stock market, and for the first time, the auditors have the receipts.